Good morning, lovely tubers. White Mexican back again with another Market Watch Investments video today for you guys. Getting things kick-started, we're going to start with Card of Sanctity. This is a really old school card. It's got amazing artwork and it's got an ultimate print dawning from the Lost Millennium, which is really cool. Also, Dark Rev Super Rare, and of course, original print Super Rares from the same set, Lost Millennium right here. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the Ultimate Rares. First editions are going for about 20 bones right now, which has actually been a significant price decrease since the last time I reviewed this card. It's been quite a while. This card was like $8, $10, like way back in like 2018, the winter of 2018, I want to say, and then it got chewed up on the market and it went up to like I think around 30 or so, and now it's about down to 20 bones for a couple of these first editions, so I think that's pretty cool. You look at this card, you can pause the video, read the effect. It seems like an ultimate neg, but if you're playing a deck where you want to remove cards, it could potentially be a trigger activation and get you some pluses. And again, it's an old school ultimate rare, really great artwork. Really quickly, I want to go ahead and take a look at the original print super rares as well. I wouldn't really be too concerned about the Dark Rev Super Rare. I'm not a big fan of Dark Revs. I believe Dark Revelation is low rarity for high dollar, but player preference, everyone likes what they like. So if you guys like Dark Rev stuff, that's cool. To each their own. But looking at the OG Super Rare prints, there's about 4 pages on the market, no first edition on the first page. And it's about $1.50 for this one here. Really not a whole lot here. It doesn't look like there's a lot on the market at all. Here's a 2-stack for about 2 bones. And you got to factor in shipping. And then here's one for $1.34 plus shipping. So, and then there's only 1 page left. So really not a whole lot of availability for this card on the market. Again, I mean, there wasn't too many prints. It's extremely old. And this is just something I feel like people just overlook just because in hindsight it seems like a complete like negative everything. But played under the right circumstances, I think this could be a pretty blowout card. Next is going to be Drill Barnacle from Generation Force. This is still to this day a solo print common from this amazing transition set. Generation Set Force was the core booster set that donned us XYZ monsters, my favorite extra deck monsters. Really fun times. This card's really cool. Sometimes I run a single copy of this in some of my anti-meta builds. I usually equip it up with a booster card so it can either run over any opposition or just keep on smashing direct attacks for a couple G's. I think this is, there's a couple cards like this. The names escape me exactly which ones, but there is a few cards that are similar. Plus, I like how it's a level 3 Aqua. You can go some pretty awesome XYZ plays with that. Pretty cool artwork, too. Super cheap, so this is just a basic common. So here's a 3-stack for, a quarter bone. And there's 5+ pages, so plenty to choose from. But I think this is a really underlooked common. I think it has a lot going for it. So I just wanted to showcase it really quick. Next is going to be Heavy Storm Duster. My personal preference would be the original OG prints from Code of the Duelist. Again, another amazing transition set. Code of the Duelist was the core set that donned us Link monsters. So pretty cool on its own merit alone. Of course, you have the Mega Pack reprint and the Dual Devastator Ultra Rares, which technically are a higher rarity, but I'd much prefer the original Super Rares, first editions exclusively. I think this is an extremely underrated card. The big debate is if you're going to run some back row destruction, you can use this. You can use Twin Twister, essentially. The payoff for this is you don't have to pitch for cost, but then with Twin Twister, it's a little bit more diverse because you can play immediately instead of waiting a turn since this is a trap card. But I think this is still valuable in its own right. I think it's still very, very good depending on what deck you're playing, if you even want to pitch or not, if pitching is going to be a resource loss. I would definitely take this into consideration. For the longest time, and still to this day, I reserve 6 slots in my side deck. 3 copies of Royal Decree, and usually 3 copies of either Twin Twister or Mystical Space Typhoon. But lately, I've been kind of playtesting and wondering if I should start utilizing Heavy Storm Duster, because some of the decks that I'm playing I don't want to pitch, and this definitely comes in very valuable as a side card for sure. And it's extremely cheap. There's one for about a bone, and this one's about the same. There's really not a lot of fat stacks, which is really surprising at least on the first page. But there's 5+ pages on the market, so there's plenty to dig through if you guys are interested in this card. Of course, there's 2 other versions, but personally, I think that the original Super Rare would be the best. Next is going to be Honest. There is so many amazing prints of this card. I want to talk more specifically about this 3 triad right here. Of course, you have the Ghost, Original, Secret Firsts, and the DT Rares, which are amazing. So, honestly, for the price dollar, I would say DT7 is the most affordable and the healthiest alternative route to getting a really nice rarity of Honest. Of course, collectability and just pure aesthetic of just being amazing. The Secrets and Ghosts are going to run king. So really quickly, just out of curiosity, let's go ahead and review the price points. The Ghosts are going to be ungodly. This is a really amazing card. Light Eccentric is just being produced rapidly, manufactured. There's so many amazing light decks out there. One of my personal fan favorite decks to run this card is Satellar Knights. I'm a huge Satellar Knight fan. Satellar Knights is definitely by far my favorite warrior-based deck, and it is a light eccentric deck. So love to run me some Honests in that deck. Light Unlimiteds are going to be about 40 plus bones starting. There are no first editions on the first page. There's 3 pages of this. And then the first editions we're going to get are lightly played for 214 as a 3 stack. And then you can see it just increases after that. So definitely holding some, rightfully so, earned value for the Ghost Rares. That's the highest rarity we have of Honest. So that's really cool. Next is going to be the OG Secret Rares. Unfortunately, I don't have any first edition copies of the OG Secret Rare. I do have several copies of the Unlimited that I bought really cheap several years ago. And I really just bought them because they were so affordable. They have had a pretty good price increase. Unlimiteds are about almost 22 now. So, I mean, that's a lot more than what they were. But this card, you definitely want to go first edition, and it's going to cost you. There's only 2 pages left. First editions are going to be on the second page, and they start at 60 bones. Here's a 3 stack from Real Deal. So this card bottoms out at about 91. So I don't really remember. It's definitely had exponential growth, because I don't even remember first editions being this much. I think the highest I've ever seen first editions, the last time I featured this card, which was a long time ago, was maybe like 50, 45, so it's definitely seen some pretty great price fluctuation. And of course, lastly, which is going to be my personal preference because of the affordability of the card, is going to be the Dual Terminal 7 Rare. So I really love Dual Terminal. Dual Terminal has been discontinued for many years. I'm a fond believer that all the dual terminal stuff is going to be well on its way into bleeding into the collector's market, just for the sheer fact that it's no longer being produced, and it just looks amazing. This is going to be about 3-ish bones if you want to factor in shipping. There's really not a lot of fat stacks. Here's a 4 stack here, then there's only 2 pages of this, so there's really not a lot of availability, which surprisingly so. It is dual terminal. It's one of the later dual terminals, so should be a little bit more flexible, but this just looks amazing. I have a couple copies of this version myself, and it just looks great. So this is definitely a healthy alternative to save some dollars. Next is going to be Regeki. This card was on the banned forbidden list for just so long. It's one of the most infamous banned cards of all time, right up there with Harpy's Feather Duster. I am an avid fan that everything comes off the ban list eventually. It's just a matter if it gets errated or not. That's some white Mexican logic for you guys. That's one of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cornerstones that I believe about the lists. And this, like Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Regeki, these are all examples of just really blowout cards that were just banned for the longest time, and they got let loose off the list, lifted off the lists, and it kind of proves that theory, in my opinion, that everything most definitely has potential to be released, and that brings a lot of a really great, exciting factor to this game. Thinking optimistically like that. So of course we have the OTS 2 Ultimate Rare, which is just way too dark. I love Ultimate Rares, but there's just some that just really take away from the artwork by just coming out too dark, and I unfortunately think that happened with Regeki. Still a really cool card, you know, it's got a fat price point and everything, but I just really think it just takes away from the artwork because it's just too dark. My personal favorites, of course, is going to be the Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon OG Set 1, Gen 1 Set 1. More specifically for the first editions, of course, because the Unlimiteds are really nothing. They're just a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. Really not too much to be excited about. There is like almost no first editions. This is actually a reshoot. I made this video yesterday, but I made a mistake with my audio, and the video just sounded like utter garbage. So I'm reshooting this for you guys because I felt super guilty about just uploading such trash quality video yesterday. First edition is going to be page 7 for 35 bones, which is a pretty uncomfortable price point to pay considering, but when you think about how ancient this card is, it's really not that bad of a price point. So if you have extra cash, I definitely think that if it really is in lightly played and not worse condition, these are probably, I could see these getting scooped up pretty quick, because especially for an infamous card like this from Legend of Blue Eyes, it's going to go quick, and this card is going to go up. I mean, everything from Legend of Blue Eyes, pretty much everything from Duel Monsters era has been and already has been increasing in value. Besides, with the first edition OG print being relatively expensive, though, I think some healthier alternatives, which look really great, is going to be the Legendary Collections 3 and Legendary Collections 4 first edition secret rares. These sets ran parallel. They manufactured a lot of the same cards and the same rarities. These are some of my all-time, well, they are my all-time favorite reprint / Legendary Collections set. More so Legendary Collections 3 because it's older, and I'm a huge fan, a big Yugi fan. But there's also the Gold Sarco tins, 2019 Gold Sarcophagus tins, Prismatic Secret Rares, and I don't know if this is just like a janky photo or not, but this just looks really bad. I haven't seen them up close in person, so maybe they look a lot better in person, but from judging from this photo, this kind of just looks like a little junky. I don't really like this, so I would much rather have these standard secret rare prints, which we're going to go ahead and take a look. If the price has not fluctuated since yesterday, these were like 5 bones for first edition prints, and they're still like roughly around 5 bones. You can see here's a 3 stack for about $4.20, and then here's one for $4 plus 99 shipping. So these have increased tremendously, and I think it's amazing because no one really plays Regeki, and I kind of understand. Like, I'll admit sometimes I don't run a single copy of this in every build that I make, but it is still an extremely impactful and devastating card. It's a big table turner, and this card is, it's really good. And I mean, we have Dark Hole at either 2 or 3 now, which is pretty devastating too. I still can't believe that card is at 3, and no one really runs that card either, and it's hard. A lot of people, like myself personally, I really, there's very few decks, probably like my Dark World Shadal deck is really probably one of like maybe 2 or 3 decks that I run over 40. I'm really strict about running 40 card decks, and it's just hard to get everything you compiled in that you want into your deck. So I understand some people cutting this, but this is still a very good card, and this is only 5 bones for the secret rare reprints, which just look fantastic. So I would definitely take a look at that, because I don't think it's going to stay at this price point forever. I mean, this card's always fluctuating. I've seen it go as high as like 25, 30, and now it's all the way down to 5, which is pretty incredible for buyers personally. So again, LB first edition supers, you got these 2 secret rares potentially. If the prismatics look pretty good, I can't really tell. I haven't seen them up in front, but these are probably pretty good and very affordable. Next is going to be Icarus Attack. So this card was made pretty much for Black Wings. Another popular Wing Beast deck would be Harpies. So a lot of people like Harpies too, so you could potentially use it in Harpies. Harpies and Black Wings are really the only Wing Beast eccentric decks that I can really think of. I don't really play Wing Beast decks, so I'm not really very knowledgeable about that. There isn't really any good versions of this. There's a Dark Rev 4. Again, if you guys are into Dark Revs, that's there for you. I personally want to review the DT4. I think this card looks great. It is a rare, and again, dual terminal foiling is just completely, it's like premium foiling. Like, I love it. I'm just really into DT stuff. And this is extremely cheap. It's like under a bone, and there's pretty much all like 1 and 2 stacks. Only 1 page, a single page of this. So there used to be pages and pages of this card. I started collecting this card back in like 2018 time frame when I was still living in Japan. And this one, it's a Blackwing card, and I'm not a profound Blackwing player by any means, but I would have a hard time believing that they don't run at least a single copy of this in the majority of the builds, if not more. This would be, it's not technically the highest rarity because I guess Dark Rev 4 supers would be more difficult to get, and they're a higher price point, but still, I would much rather have a DT4 rare personally. I think it looks a lot better, and that's just player preference for me personally. So there's a big Blackwing player base out there, and of course whatever other Wing Beast decks that become popular that people want to play, they can run this. I think it's a really good playable card, and it's got great artwork, and this is an amazing rarity. So for all those reasons, it made the list to be featured in this video. Next is going to be Great Shogun Shien. I love this card. There's an ultimate print from the original set that it dawned out of, Strike and Neos. There's also a Legendary Collection 2. Another great Legendary Collection set here as a secret rare. Let's go ahead and take a quick preview at the ultimate rares, because even for the unlimited, this is going for some really top dollar prices. This has had exponential growth. It's been a long time since I reviewed this card, but it's definitely grown in value. Unlimited alone, starting price is 40 bones, which is just insane. And then when we get to the first edition market, goes to 150 bones. Here's 2 sets of 2, and it just goes up after that. It's pretty incredible. Only 1 page. This card is amazing. I love the artwork. 6 Samurais is my second favorite warrior deck. And there's a lot of cool mechanics behind this deck, and there's a lot of awesome powerhouse cards, and this deck has a really cool play style, and it's really fast, and it's fun. It's a really fun deck. It's a really fun deck to pilot. So there is Shogun, and there's also the Legendary Collection 2 secret rares, which I definitely would not write off. Now, they're not quite as beautiful as the ultimate rares, but they are still the second highest rarity as secret rares, and they still look very, very good. I don't know. I want to say I think I have a few of these. I know I have at least 1 ultimate rare. Unfortunately, it is unlimited, so pretty bummed about that, but it is what it is. But don't write off these secret rares. These secret rares still look very, very nice, and this is a really fun card. A lot of the 6 Samurai builds that I utilize at least 1 to 3 of these, because this is a really fun card to get on the board and do some disruption and just smack around your opponent with 25. And it's about 3-ish 4. It's about 4-ish bones for the secret rares. Again, only go for the first editions exclusively, and there's about 5+ pages of this. So this would definitely be a healthy alternative for Shogun or Shogun. And next, of course, is the infamous legendary Shien. This is the card. I think it's, if I'm so bold to say, this is the card that makes people love 6 Samurais. This is the big boss card. Back in the day, this used to be at 3. This has been ripped up on the forbidden ban list for quite a while. I'm pretty sure it's still at 1 if I'm not mistaken. This card is extremely impactful, just devastating, really, really infamous, legendary card. I used to hate this card when it was at 3 because it would just negate everything. But when you're on the flip side and you're negating 3 stacks per turn and smacking your opponent for 75 in the face, it's pretty incredible. And the artwork is just phenomenal. And of course, this is, an amazing ultimate rare hollow foiling here. So let's go ahead and do a preview, try to figure out where this card stands. It's been a long time since I reviewed this card, so I can't remember exactly what the first editions are at. Unlimiteds are going for about 24, which is, I wouldn't get an unlimited version. I have unlimited versions of this because I don't remember if I pulled them, and I invested a little bit in some of the, I forget what it's called, but there is an actual, special edition dedicated to 6 Samurais that had, Crimson Crisis and, Strike and Neos and another pack that I can't remember. And I think I pulled 1 or 2 of these Ultimate Rare, but they were unlimited, of course, because it was special edition. So they were not first, but looks like the only first editions are going to be on the last page. Only 3 pages on this, and the first edition, as lightly played, is going to be 65, and then it bottoms out all the way at about 75. So really surprised that it's not more. I could definitely see this card hitting the $100 mark relatively soon. There's really not a lot available. Now, granted, 65 bones is a pretty painful price to pay for a single piece of cardboard, but if you take in consideration the history behind this card, the artwork, the rarity, the age, and just the big player base, how many people really love 6 Samurais, I would definitely think that this is something to take into consideration. Also, Spirit Warriors donned a secret rare, which, of course, if you don't want to pay the fat price tag for the ultimate rares, which look very great, there's also secret rares that dawn from Spirit Warriors, which came out a couple years ago now. And these have had a small price increase as well. When this set first dropped, I was picking these up left and right in fat stacks because I love secret rare and I love 6 Samurais, and it was the first print, still to this day, the only secret rare print that we have of this card. And they're about $3, so there's been, pretty significant price increases. What surprised me more about this card is that there's only 2 pages left. You can see these are all 1 stacks, and there's only 2 pages left. So someone is buying these Sheins, and I think rightfully so. This is a really great rarity for a really great card. Next is going to be Tribe Infecting Virus. This is one of my all-time favorite old school super rare cards. I have quite a few first edition prints of this. I want to take a look at the OG super rares for Magician's Force. Magician's Force alone, because Dark Magician Girl and stuff like Breaker the Magical Warrior and of course Tribe Infecting Virus are the only cards really coming to my mind right now. But this is a really big blowout set for collector's value, for Gen 1 collector's market value. There's a lot of great first edition cards that are going for some really fat stacks now. So that's really cool that it's a special set that's coming forward. The artwork is just unparalleled. I love the artwork so much in this card, and it was banned for the longest time. It got lifted off the list. I think it's at 3 now, if I'm not mistaken. No one really paid attention to it. No one really plays it. It's not that it's a terrible card. Depending on what you're playing, if you want to pitch, trigger effects, and the mechanics work out, and plus it's an aqua water, which is really cool. I really love water decks, and level 4 is the most generic XYZ play, which is pretty cool. And its stats aren't terrible. 16 is pretty low for a level 4, but it's got a pretty cool effect, amazing artwork. Again, you can go into some pretty awesome XYZ plays with it, and just the collectability behind this card and just the history is really great, really rich in history. There is no first editions on the first page. There's about 5+ pages. The first edition we're going to get on the second page is going to be from Multi-Monster for roughly around 9 bones. And then there is no more first editions until the third page, and this is going to go quickly into about 12 bones. Phantasm Gaming has a 10 stack here, which is pretty impressive. So this is just a really great card. I love this card, and I definitely think it's well on its way to the collector's market if it's already not already. Next is going to be Return of the Dragon Lords. This used to be a solo print for the longest time. OG print as a super rare from Rise of the True Dragon structure deck. Legendary Collection Kaiba drop. This was another amazing Legendary Collection. I just love Legendary Collections. When a Legendary Collection drops, it's pretty significant to me because there's a lot of awesome secret rares that come out. I know that there's some really infamous secret rares are going to drop and these sets, and it's been a while, I think, because I think the Battles of Legends is kind of been what we've been getting of late. I don't even remember what the last Legendary Collection. We've been getting all the ultra rare sets, the Dual Power and the Dual Devastator and the Battles of Legends, but Konami would, they need to bring back some Legendary Collection sets because I love these. These are pretty great. So the Secret Rare reprint, obviously I like the Secret Rare reprint more. Huge fan of the Secret Rare foiling. It's my second favorite rarity. That reminds me, so before I forget, because I know I'm going to forget. If I wanted to do it towards the end of the video, but I'm going to forget. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I want to start incorporating questions of the day or themed questions throughout my content. And for today, for my very first question, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card rarity and why? Please let me know. You can comment below or you can message me on Facebook. Then just give me a little story of why that particular rarity is your favorite and why you value it. So this card is going to be about 8 bones, which it sounds about right. This has seen a lot of fluctuation. I've seen this card at like 20, 15, now it's at 8. I would really like to see this card at 5. I want to pick this card up at 5. I don't know how long it's going to take to get to 5. I don't know if it's ever going to get to 5. 8 is kind of like an all-time new low. I haven't really seen it this low in quite a while. It's got a couple different effects, so it's really good. Dragons have so much support. There's so many just legendary, crazy dragon decks running around out there, and it's pretty generic for that. So, and it's got really cool artwork too. So let's go ahead and take a look at the original first edition. So the secret rares are about 8. So let's see if there's a significant price difference in the OG super rares, which I definitely would not write off. These are still valuable. This is still an amazing card. There's only 3 versions, only two hollow foils, and of course this is like the oldest print. This is the original print. So don't write it off. First editions are about 5 bones. So about $3 difference between the super rares and the secret rares. Kind of leave it up to you. Personally, I would drop the extra $3 and get secret rares, but I also value original prints too. So I'm going to kind of leave that up to interpretation for you guys. There's only 4 pages on the market of the original print as well. Next is going to be Magician of Faith. This card has seen some pretty cool reprints. There's an ultra rare from one of the Speed Duel sets. And of course we have the infamous super rare from Champion Pack 2, which is just, I'm going to click on this really quick because this is just ungodly expensive and pretty much unattainable. There's probably not going to be much of any of these on the market. Really cool card and really hard to get as well. About 400. There's a 2 stack here. Again, I'm only looking for lightly played or better, so there's probably some crappier conditioned ones, but only 2 on the market, and they're $400, so good luck selling those at $400. I don't know. I personally wouldn't spend $400 on that. I mean, it's old and it's hard to get, and I love Magician of Faith. And again, this card is another card that was on the ban list for so long. Was really excited when this got lifted off the ban list. But when we have like versions like the Duelist Saga, which is, an alternative ultra rare foiling of this card, this looks great. And I talk about Duelist Saga a lot. Duelist Saga and Duel Terminal are kind of like, I'm on like a kind of mini crusades about really promoting Duelist Saga and dual terminal, the special Dual Saga Ultra Rare foiling. It's kind of hard to see in this picture, but there's like laser beam foiling. Still to this day, this is very unique, exclusively to Dual Saga. Konami has not reprinted this special Ultra Rare foiling, and that's one reason why I believe a lot of the Dual Saga cards have potential to and kind of already are bleeding into the collector's market just for that fact alone. But it's a really cool rarity, and I don't know, Konami's more likely to reproduce this rarity as opposed to dual terminal rarity. But of course, dual terminals discontinued too. So both of these sets are really great. I would definitely invest some time looking into them. And for the longest time, no one wanted this card. It was like a half bone, $3. There's only 2 pages left, so the price is definitely increasing with the limited quantity on the market. The first couple listings are about 5 bones plus, so this is definitely seen some significant price increase. It's nothing blowout, but coming from what it used to be, this has seen some amazing growth. And personally, this and the OG rares from Metal Raiders, which again are just extremely ancient. I'm really curious. I want to dip into the original OG prints, first edition. So this is definitely for the money. I think this is the best rarity for the price. This is still at a pretty reasonable price. I don't think it's going to stay like that long term. But also, I really do like the original prints rares. And they're probably relatively expensive for first editions. Again, this is Generation 1 Set 2. So really old. There's no first editions on the first page. Only 3 pages available here on the market. No first editions on the second page. We get a few first editions on the third page, and they're right up there. I mean, they're even more expensive than the Dual Saga Ultra Rares. So rightfully so. I mean, I'm not surprised. Again, this set is ancient. This is, I think, a relatively liked card. And again, it was on the ban list forever. And it's just a good card. It's really powerful. I mean, it's slow because it's a flip effect. There's still some flip effect mechanics in the game. Really cool artwork, great stats. I mean, it's a level 1 light spellcaster, and you can recycle any magic card, which is just it's insane. I think this is extremely undervalued, so I had to showcase it. Next is going to be Compulsory Evacuation Device. I love this card. We have a super rare from Turbo Pack Booster 4, which is pretty expensive. We have my personal favorites, Legendary Collection 3 and 4, Secret Rares, which I'm going to get into in a minute. We also have a Dual Terminal 3 Common, which is really great. And then, of course, we have the Invasion of Chaos OG First Edition Rares, which, just out of curiosity, these probably aren't that expensive because there is so many other like higher amazing rarities like DT and Secret Rare, but and a Champions Pack or whatever it was, Super Rare, which is really cool too. But just out of curiosity, so yeah, there's 5+ pages, no first editions on the first page. Just for like nostalgia factor, because this is the OG print, that's really going to be the only reason that this is going to be worth any kind of money, specifically because this is from IOC, Invasion of Chaos. This was cookie cutter format of Yu-Gi-Oh! We got Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Emperor Dragon from this. A lot of just blowout Chaos Sorcerer, Blackluster Soldier, and Chaos Emperor Dragon. This was probably one of my all-time favorite times in the game. I mean, cookie cutter Chaos was like Yatagarasu, the Chaos Monsters, Sangan, Witch of the Black Forest. Like, it was nuts. It was crazy. It was a really good time. A lot of banned cards that you could use that are banned and have still been banned for quite a while. It took forever for Konami to start unlocking this deck, but there is first edition here is about 1.5 bones, and let's see if we can find some more. So there's really just not a whole lot of first editions in general, which is not surprising because this set is just so ancient. But it's roughly about $1, $1 or $2. Let's just say $2. About $2 for the OG prints. But again, I personally wouldn't even really go for that one because we have such amazing alternatives like the Secret Rares Let's go ahead and take a look at Legendary Collections 3. So Legendary Collections 3 was a set before Joey's World, and it's a little bit older, a little bit harder to get, and a lot of the same cards. Like, again, the sets ran really closely parallel, but it's going to be about 3 bones for first edition secrets, and there's a little bit more. Let's say a little bit more availability, 5+ pages. So there's not really a lot of fat stacks, at least on the first page here, but there's plenty of pages to go through. This is personally my favorite version. If you had to pick a version, I would definitely go for Legendary Collection 3 or Legendary Collection 4. Secret Rares, first edition, first edition, first edition. You always got to go first edition. And, of course, Dual Terminal 3 Dawn to Common, which I would not write this off as well. This is very great. I personally have a lot of first edition secrets and DT3 commons, which are really great. These are, about 2 bones. There's really not a lot of stacks of this either, only 3 pages. So, completely up to you guys. I would definitely go for the DTs or the Secret Rares. Last card I want to feature today is going to be Penguin Soldier. More specifically, the first edition Super Rare Prince from Starter Deck Joey. I'm pretty sure if I have my history correct, this was the original print. This was kind of one of those obscure cards like Graceful Charity that never actually came out of a core set. Usually cards come out of a core booster set and then they get reprinted in follow-up products. But this was just one of those cards. You can see like just the obscurity of the sets. It was a structure deck, a battle pack, a starter deck, Dark Legends, an obscure reprinted set, another starter deck, the OG print starter deck, Dual Terminal 6, Retro Pack, another obscure reprint set, Dark Beginning 2, side set. So really, I wouldn't really be much concerned of any of these. The only one that I would really be interested in is the original OG prints, the super rare first editions exclusively from Starter Deck Joey. Again, this is another old school slow flip mechanic. Artwork is pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the 1 through 3 generation starter decks. What I consider Generation 1 is going to be Generation 1, Wave 1, of course, starter deck Yugi Kaiba, Wave 2, Joey Pegasus. Generation 2 was what I consider the starter deck Kaiba Yugi Evolution decks, and then Gen 3, the Yugi Kaiba starter deck Reloaded, which have some pretty collectible cards. I'm a big avid fan of getting first edition Ultimate Rare Dark Magician and Blue Eyes from the Reloaded decks. And as for the Gen 2 Evolutions, the Super Rare Dark Magician and Blue Eyes White Dragon first editions exclusively on all those are well on their way in the collector's market. I've been collecting those for quite a while. I've been trying to kind of light a fire on those cards because I really believe that players need to kind of wake up on that and pick those cards up because they are extremely old, and eventually I really believe that they're going to get to some pretty dumb numbers, and it's some exciting stuff. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. But there's still attainable Gen 1 starter deck holo foils, first editions that are still available that you can pick up that people aren't really talking about, that I've been talking about for a while, and maybe people are starting to notice because the numbers naturally, as they should be, are starting to dwindle. But this is an example, like Graceful Charity, like Star Deck Pegasus has first edition Ultra Rare Relinquishes, first edition Super Rare Graceful Charities, which is the original print, which is really cool. Starter Deck, the same deck, Starter Deck Joey had first edition Ultra Rare Red Eyes, and they're just, I would definitely check out all the holo foils from all the Gen 1 to Gen 3 stuff. Is some pretty great stuff. Again, this is all going to be for collector's value as opposed to playability, so definitely go for, lightly played or better condition and first editions exclusively. So this card's still really cheap, and there's really just not a lot of availability. There is for the unlimiteds. You can get unlimiteds all day long, but we don't care about unlimiteds. Again, this is going to be more so depending on what deck you're playing. There's some potential playability. I like how it's a double compulse, but this is going to be more for collectors, in my opinion. The first edition is going to be about 2 bones. Here's another one for about 2 bones. There's just not a lot of fat stacks anymore, and this is kind of what I'm talking about, that these people already have completely just devoured the Gen 1 Blue Eyes and Dark Magician first editions, and now it's kind of just spreading to like everything else now. So just a couple bones for this card, and there's plenty of pages to go through, so you guys can take a peek at that later on if you want. I have social media The link is going to be below. Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me. I would love to hear from each and every one of you guys. I've had a significant growth in this channel the last couple months, and that's all due to you guys. Thank you so much for watching this content. I really love making this content for you. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been in my life for almost 2 decades now. This is one of my greatest passions. I really am into this game a lot. I love the friendship. I love all the cool things that you can do with this game. I think it's extremely important to have hobbies that you are just highly interested in, that you're invested in, that you spend time and work hard in, and it's important. It's very healthy to be diverse and have things that you really care about, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a really good outlet for people, and it's just an amazing hobby to have, and has a lot to offer to a lot of different players. So I'm really happy that I got introduced to it as a kid at a very young age, and that is stuck with me through my early adulthood. It's been a really amazing ride. Again, the question of the day was, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, rarity, and why? Please give me a little story explaining that. Also, what was I gonna ask? Also, why? How? If you guys want to do like a little add-on, I'm really curious to know how you guys got into the game, and I'll kind of follow up with that, just a little personal story before I cut loose on this video. It was back in 2002. I lived in Michigan, and I moved from a part of the city to another part of the city, into an apartment complex in Farmington Hills, and I actually met one of my old school friends, and he had some cards, and he basically showed me the cards, and then I started watching the show, and it became a big thing, and that's kind of how I came about into the realm of Yu-Gi-Oh! It was old school stuff, like back in 2002 in my apartment complex, kids just slinging cardboard and just playing, and it was a really good time. So that's actually kind of my testimony of how I got into this game. I know it's not super crazy or anything, but I'm really interested in how you guys got into the game, because I love how just the diversity in this game and how people have different stories of coming into this game. So the genesis of Yu-Gi-Oh, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are making some fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh investments yourself. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Please stay safe out there. This has been a showcasing by the White Mexican, and I'll see you in the next video.